Do you have trouble sleeping because you have that burning, numbing, tingling, sciatic pain going down your leg? Or you just can't get comfortable because your low back is so sore? You toss and turn, you never feel rested, and you seem to wake up in more pain than when you started the night before? Well, if that sounds like you, then stay tuned, because in this video, I'm going to review what I find are the absolute best positions to sleep in to help your low back and sciatic pain, but also review what are the worst positions and what you can do to make those positions a little bit better so you get a better night's sleep, help your body heal, and feel pain-free in the morning. Hi, my name is Dr. Scott McCrimmon, and I'm a chiropractor with Caledon East Family Chiropractic in Caledon, Ontario. Our office's YouTube channel is devoted towards giving you and your family the latest, best, most up-to-date health information to keep you living an active, healthy, pain-free lifestyle so that you can do the things that you want to do. If you find the information in these videos helpful, click that subscribe button, give the video a like, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you can get the latest videos as they come out weekly from all of our practitioners here. Okay, to have your best sleep with low back pain or sciatic pain, we want to work on keeping our spine in a neutral position. So to understand what neutral is, let's have a look at our spine. This is a side view of the spine, meaning this is the front, this is the back, this person is looking sideways. From the side, our spine should have three curves. This curve is our neck, this curve is our middle back, this curve is our lower back. When we look at it from the back, so if you were staring at the back of this person, our spine should be relatively straight. So let's go back to our side curves for a second. The more we can maintain these neutral positions while we're sleeping, the less stress will be on the joints, on the nerves, on the muscles, any of those things that can be causing us pain while we're sleeping. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the different sleeping postures and how you can use those postures and keep your spine as close to neutral as possible. And yes, there are certain sleeping postures that are better than others, so I'm going to go through them in my least favorite towards my most favorite. And each one, I'm going to give you modifications to help you in that position. Even though there's some that may be more ideal, I've learned over the years that no matter how much I try and get patients to change their sleeping postures, they tend to revert back to what is normal or what they're used to. So if you absolutely can't change, I'll give you some modifications in those different postures that will help make it a little bit better for you. So let's start with my least favorite sleeping position, and that is sleeping on your stomach. So if I have my friend here, he's laying on his stomach. Number one, we need to breathe, which means our head has to turn to the side, okay? And that's gonna put a ton of stress through our neck as we rotate, and we compress all the joints, uneven muscle pull. That can create some problems. Now I know our focus is more on the lower back, so if we look at our normal low back curve, when we lay on our stomach, we all have some soft tissue up front here. A lot of us have tight hip flexors and other things. What's going to happen is that's going to sink down into the table and actually put more compression through your lower back. So if I do this when we're upright, you can see we have our nerves that come out of the lower back here that relate to or that start to create our sciatic nerve. We have our joints here, and that just compresses right down. So many of you who sleep on your stomach, you probably know when you wake up in the morning, your back's really stiff, it's hard to loosen it up, you struggle a little bit getting out of bed. This is by far my least favorite sleeping position. It's one that I personally don't think anyone should sleep in. It's not good for your low back, it's not good for your neck. It can actually create a lot of trouble. That said, I know there's people that still like to do it. So let me go over, show you a few things that can be, why it's not great, but a few things you can do that if you must sleep in this position, that can help take some stress off your lower back. So as you can see, when I lay on my stomach, my head has to turn to the side. I need to breathe. And as I showed you on the spine model, that's gonna create a lot of stress in my neck. As far as my low back goes, as I lay here, my stomach sinks down on the table. I get this increased curve in my lower back. My hip flexors are nice and tight. That's all going to put stress through the joints and the nerves, aggravate my sciatica, and make my low back really tight. As mentioned, I would prefer you not sleep in this position. I don't think it's really good for anybody. However, if you're adamant this is the only way you sleep, which I hear this often in my office, then let me show you a couple tips to help it make it a little bit better for you, even though it's not preferred. So if it's a must and you're going to sleep on your stomach, then I suggest you get a couple of extra pillows. One is going to go under the lower part of your stomach and your hips. The other one is going to go under your shins. And what this is going to do, by having one under your stomach, it's going to prevent that low back from sagging down so much and take a little bit of stress off the back. And putting one under your knees will also help take some stress off your hip flexors, which will also help take stress off your lower back. So if we can lay like this, my stomach's not going to sink down into the table quite so much, and you can even add one or two pillows under your knees or under your shins to help take some stress off your lower back as well. Not much we can do for the neck. Either way, you're still going to turn and put stress on your neck, which is why we generally don't like this position. So again, showing on a real person, really important to have a pillow that supports the space between, all the way between the mattress and my ear. So for me, this pillow is probably a little bit thin because my head wants to come down a little bit. There are many different kinds of pillows you can get, but if I had a thicker pillow that would keep my head in this position, that would be perfect. Next is this part of my waist is going to want to sink down into the table. As I showed you with the spine, you just create a little bit of a curve this way, which will put more stress, again, through one side of the spine, pull on one side, compression on the other. And as well, our hips tend to be wider than our knees, so you can see my legs sort of slope down towards our knees. So if we're going to sleep on our side, how do we keep our spine in neutral? Well, let me show you. So if I'm going to sleep on my side, I'm going to grab a couple extra pillows that are really going to help me keep my spine in a neutral posture. You can see I've beefed up the pillows for my neck a little bit, so my head's going to be more neutral. I have a pillow that's going to go under my waist, so I'm not going to have that sag to the side in my lower back. And then one pillow that I'm going to put between my knees. So when we lay down on our side, you can see now my neck is in a much more neutral position compared to before when it was just one pillow and it was too far down, or if I have a pillow that's too thick and my neck's cranked up. Careful with using multiple pillows that you're not pushing up too high. I find one thicker pillow works best. As for my lower back, this pillow that just sits under my waist, doesn't have to be too thick, is going to help prevent that sag in our lower back and keep us in a much more neutral position. As far as our legs go, you can see, because the hips are wider than the knees, that as I lay here, I have this angle going down from my hip to my knees. By just putting a pillow between our knees, it's going to be much straighter from my hip to my knee. That's going to keep our hips in line, which is going to help keep our spine in line. It's going to take a lot of stress off our lower back and help you get a much more comfortable sleep. The last position I'm going to talk about, which is probably the most supportive for your back, and when you've got sciatic symptoms or low back symptoms, probably the most comfortable, is probably going to give you the most relief, is laying flat on your back. Now to do this, there are a couple tips that you want to do to maintain that proper curve in your back, and as well as take stress off the sensitive nerves, like your sciatic nerve, off your hips, off your hamstrings and your hip flexors. So when you're laying on your back, this can be a great position to sleep in. A couple things to keep in mind. You probably want a bit of a thinner pillow. You don't want something too thick that's going to be forcing your head up while you're sleeping. And also, we do sometimes, for a lot of people, they have tight hip flexors, tight hamstrings, which is going to rotate our pelvis forward and put an increased curve and some stress through our lower back. So there are a couple things you can do to support that. As a side note, also don't sleep with your arms over your head. It's not great for your shoulders, it's not great for your neck. Okay, so again, a couple extra pillows can make all the difference in the world. We have our thinner pillow for our head, a pillow that's going to support the small of our lower back, and then one pillow just to go just below our knees, under our calves, which is going to help take stress off our lower back. So if I hop up here, so right now I've got a pillow under my back that's going to support that lumbar lordosis, or that curve that we want to maintain our lower back, and the pillow just under our knees or just below our knees, that's going to take stress off our hamstrings and our hip flexors, so they're not pulling on your lower back while you're sleeping. This is a very supportive position for your back, and it's a great way to take pressure off the sciatic nerve, off the joints, off the muscles, and give you a good night's sleep where you're waking up rested and not in pain. Okay, so we've gone through the different sleeping postures, with stomach being my least favorite, then side, then sleeping on your back, which is probably the best and most supportive. I showed you ways that you can modify each position to be a little more supportive. The one thing that always comes up when we talk to patients in our offices, Doc, I can't sleep with that many pillows. I toss, I turn, I throw them everywhere. I wake up and I've got pillows all over the room, or I drive my spouse crazy trying to sleep like that. For me, the best sleeping position for any individual person is the one where you get the best night's sleep and wake up without pain. Now, if you're watching this video, most likely that's not working for you right now, and you've got the sciatic trouble and you've got the lower back trouble. So try the different positions. Find one that works, and even if at the start it's only temporary, maybe you're like, okay, I get in that position, I feel good, I fall asleep, I get an hour or two, and then I wake up and the pillows are everywhere. That hour or two to start is going to help you. Your body will adapt over time if you stick with it, and it's going to help you get better night's sleep, it's going to help you heal, and it's going to help your sciatic pain go away and help you wake up refreshed and live a little bit better and be happier the next day. So just start, and it will get better as you go. So I hope you found that helpful and that you learned something about the different sleeping positions and postures and modifications that you can do to take pressure off your sciatic nerve, off your lower back, help you get a much better night's sleep, wake up in less pain and more energy, and to help you on your healing journey. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them below. And we also learn from you. So if you've learned any different tips or tricks that help you sleep better and less pain, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and we can learn and share with our patients in our YouTube community as well. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and keep being healthy, keep being active, and keep living the life that you were designed to live.